So good morning and welcome to Inspirational Slow Flow Yoga. Today we're going to start on our back. You're going to need a couple blocks, a blanket or two. If you have a strap handy, awesome. If not, you can grab something like a men's tie or a scarf or even a belt could work. Or just don't use one at all. You'll be fine either way. So we're going to start on our back in a supported back bend. Now you can make this as high as you want. So if you want to take a flat blanket or towel, fold it like this, or you can roll it if you want a little bit more opening. The other thing you can do is place two, one on top of the other, and that will lift it up but still give you some support. And certainly if you don't want to do this at all, it's your practice. Listen to your body. So we're going to start on our back. You'll want to bring your seat all the way up to the edge so that the low back has some support, and then lower yourself down. You can turn your palms upward, bringing them out to the sides with the palms facing up. If you'd like, you can have the feet on the floor, especially if you have some low back pain or you're healing in your low back. Otherwise, go ahead and take those legs all the way out long. Take them at least the width of your hips and just allow the feet to roll open. So there's a little bit of opening into the hips and the low back area. Once you begin to settle in, just kind of shift and move to get as comfortable as possible. Settling in, and then close your eyes. Begin to scan your attention, just noticing any areas of discomfort, noticing any areas of pain, noticing any areas of strength or spaciousness. And do that without any attachment, without any judgment. Just observe and accept what comes up. Our body is always communicating with us. It has this innate wisdom. And these indicators that reveal things to us guide us toward action in order to resolve them so we can come back to a place of homeostasis. We can go into a space of healing. We can go into a space of rest, whatever it is our body might need. And so today, I want you to really focus your attention to notice how your body feels, but also any thoughts or emotions that you've brought onto your mat this morning. Just observing and accepting, allowing yourself to be whole, mind, heart, body, and spirit. Begin to notice and observe your breath. See if your breath is moving into the deeper parts of your lungs, or maybe your breath is a little more shallow at this moment. Notice if there's a rhythm or a pace to your breathing. See if you can begin to intentionally slow and deepen your breath. Maybe take one or both hands and rest them on your belly, even creating like a diamond shape around your navel point. And in your mind's eye, as you begin to draw the breath deeply in through the nose, feel it move through the back of the throat, filling into the lungs, all the way down into the lowest parts of your lungs, so that you feel your belly expand and inflate, and maybe your hands separate on the inhale. On the exhale, allow the belly to soften and hollow out. The fingertips will come back together as you release all of the breath, letting go. Inhaling, filling up, seeing if you can expand and inflate a little wider. And then on the exhale, softening, releasing, maybe squeezing out just a little bit more breath. Allowing the breath to be a vehicle for self-care. Breath is one of our greatest weapons against stress. And today, we want to really focus on this union of mind, heart, body, and spirit in the interest of self-care. Creating a little bit of a self-care buffer zone so we have some more resiliency to withstand the stressors of life. So when we think about self-care, self-care includes intentional activities that have a desirable effect upon our overall health and well-being. Self-care is necessary for us to live a healthy and well-balanced life. Audre Lorde said, self-care isn't self-indulgent, it's self-preservation. The fact of the matter is that stress is literally killing us. We know that 75% of all doctors' visits or visits to medical practitioners are due to stress-related ailments and complaints. And stress has been labeled as the #1 killer in the US. We know that it has an impact on high blood pressure, headaches, heart disease, diabetes, asthma, arthritis, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, addiction, different forms of cancer. And so we need to do something on a regular basis to counter the effects of stress on our body. And when we do this, we allow our body to come into a space of homeostasis, into the rest and digest nervous system where the body can heal and restore and renew, where we can fill ourselves back up again because we cannot pour out from an empty cup. So let this be a time of filling, maybe even adopting some sort of a mantra around self-care. Maybe it's just, I'm worthy of self-care. I deserve self-care. I want to invite you to slowly bring the soles of the feet together, allowing those knees to splay open. If you'd like to place blocks underneath your thighs, you're welcome to do that to provide some additional support, especially if your hips feel a little tight this morning. This will provide an opportunity for them to open slowly and intentionally. And just direct your breath to any areas where you're feeling some resistance or where you're feeling any kind of forcing, and just allow the breath to flow freely. We spend the majority of our time in accessory breathing, breathing in the upper portions of our lungs. So we want to drive the breath down deeper so we can come into the parasympathetic nervous system, counter the effects of stress on our body. But this posture also counters the effects of stress, because when we're in a fight or flight state, we curl up into a ball like a fetal position, or energetically we do. Our shoulders come up by our ears and round forward. We'll hinge forward at the hips. We'll guard our heart, our belly, the vulnerable parts of our body. We'll also clench into our teeth and our jaw. So see if you can allow the jaw to part here. Allow the heart to be open, rolling the shoulders back and down, and opening into the hips. And as you do, just continue to find a slow, deep, rhythmic breath. So we begin to bring the knees toward each other, and we'll move those blocks out of the way for the time being. And then toe heel your feet out to the edges of your mat. We'll slowly windshield wiper the legs from side to side here. Just take your time. See if you can link your breath and your movement. So exhaling as you go to one side, inhaling as you come back up to center, taking it to the other side, just being slow and intentional in your movements, listening to your body. So that is also an act of self-care. Noticing what's going on in your body, honoring your body. So not trying to force anything in this yoga practice, but instead allowing the practice to meet you where you are. Good. Go ahead and bring the feet back to the floor with the knees bent about hip-width distance apart. And then we're going to take our hands alongside our hips and press up so that you're resting on your forearms. So draw your elbows back a little bit so they're stacking underneath your shoulders. Good. If you want to, you can kind of tuck your hands underneath your seat a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and extend those legs out long. Point the toes toward the front of the room, engage the legs, inner spiraling your thighs like you're holding a block between your thighs and trying to hug it with your thighs. Press into the forearms and begin to elevate your chest up. So we're going to literally lift that chest up and then draw the skull back, just allowing the head to release. Breathe here. Maybe open your mouth. Releasing the jaw. Connecting a little bit with our throat chakra. One more letting go breath. Beautiful. We're going to press into those hands and bring ourselves up. Take the hands out from underneath and we'll move the blanket out of the way. If you have a strap handy, I'm sure you just have that available. Otherwise, don't worry about it. We're going to move the excess tissue out of the way so we feel especially grounded here. Good. And then on the inhale, gently begin to sweep those arms up overhead. Drawing the toes back toward your nose, the toes lift up toward the ceiling, but keep the legs engaged so much so that your heels might even lift up off of the floor. We're stacking ears over shoulders and the shoulders over the hips. And then on the exhale, we're going to just reach forward till we feel a stretch. It might not be very far. It's early in the practice. 3 breaths here. Again, those shoulders stay back and down. On the inhale, slowly coming up. Beautiful. On the exhale, hinging at the hips, leading with the heart flat back. Holding here, maybe you can go a little bit further. Inhaling, coming back up. And this time, exhale, coming all the way down. So maybe float the hands down, or maybe here is a great place for you to use a strap around your feet. So loop that strap around the feet if you like. And then again, shoulders stay back and down as we hinge at the hips, and then relax your head here. And so when we're thinking about self-care, we want to address the body holistically. Every part of ourself is connected. So we're not just talking about taking care of the body, but we're talking about taking care of the body, the mind, the heart, and the spirit. Buddha said to keep the body in good health is a duty. Otherwise, we shall not be able to keep our mind strong and clear. We have a connection, a mind-body connection. So We care for our bodies. We take care of these holy temples. And it enables us also to keep our mind strong and clear. We're going to slowly lift up halfway. And then let the strap just loop around the left foot. So just the left foot. Sitting up nice and tall here. Take a hold of that strap and we're going to lift the leg. And if you don't have a strap, just interlace your hands behind the back of your thigh and lift the leg that way. You can have as much or as little of bend in the knee as you want. And here we're just starting to bring that leg up, but without rolling back or rounding. So keep the heart lifted and stack the ears over the shoulders and the shoulders over your hips. Keep lifting from the underside of your belly, so keep that core engaged. Beautiful. Take a hold of the strap with your right hand. You might even loop the strap around your hand, like wrap it around so that you don't have to worry about holding on so tightly. And then take your left hand high, reaching it up. Beautiful. On the exhale, let's begin to twist our body over to the right and float that hand down to the floor. Press into the hand. Keep the spine long and straight. And maybe you'll find a little bit more space to twist. Let the gaze follow your twist here. Nice big twist, breathing. On the inhale, reach that arm up, coming back to center. And then we're going to bend the knee and place the ankle just above our left knee. You can move the strap out of the way for the moment. Again, we're going to sit up nice and tall. We're going to do a little bit of opening into the hip. So take your hands to your knee. We're going to lift the knee and then exhale, lower the knee. So it's okay if you're rocking. That rocking is really good for the nervous system. It also helps the tissues release their grips on the bones. It helps to lubricate that joint. Good. Now just allow that knee to soften down, maybe even placing your hand on that knee. Your foot is flexed, sitting up nice and tall. Breathe here. Good. And then if it's available, we're going to start to hinge forward at the hips and find a forward fold here. Now, if it's a lot of strain into the back of your extended leg, or it's just difficult for you to do this, you can do it by bending the knee and bringing the leg toward you, and then take the hands behind you. So this is also another way to stretch deeper into that hip with less strain into the extended leg. So just go with what feels best for your body. Slowly begin to come up, and then we're going to bring that foot to the outside of our extended leg, sitting up nice and tall. Now you can stay here with the right leg extended, so if you are upright, you can go ahead and extend that leg out, toes point up, or you can bend that leg and bring that foot alongside your hip, sitting up like this. Either way is great. We'll go ahead and take a hold of the outside of that leg with our right hand. Bring the left hand behind, lengthen first, and then begin to twist in the direction of your knee. Now, if you'd like to add a little deeper twist, you can bring the elbow to the outside of your knee or thigh, fingers pointing up. Breathe here. Beautiful job. Slowly unravel the twist, coming back to center. Unravel the legs. Shake them out a little bit. Make sure you feel nice and grounded into your sits bones. Shake those legs, maybe tap them a bit. Good. And then if you'd like to, you can take the strap, loop it around the ball of your right foot, sitting up nice and tall. Again, if you don't have a strap, we'll just interlace hands behind the thigh and go ahead and bring that foot up. Again, make sure you're not leaning. So come upright, drawing the shoulders back and down as you begin to stretch the hamstring and the whole back side of your leg. Breathing here. Good. Loop the strap around that left hand. Reach the right hand high. And then begin to rotate your torso, planting that hand behind you, taking a twist here. Keep lifting and lengthening. And allow your gaze to follow your twist. Breathe. On the inhale, come back up to center. On the exhale, bend the knee, place that ankle just above your knee. Flexing into the foot, make sure your extended leg is activated too, and then we'll lift and lower the knee. Just working some stuff out, lots of breath. So what kinds of activities are you doing to take care of this body? Sometimes it's more than just about exercise, movement, what you're eating. It's about rest, self-care activities that you do, downtime, getting enough sleep. We're going to sit up nice and tall here. Press that foot down. Breathe as you lengthen, and then on the exhale, hinging forward at the hips, leading with the heart, shoulders stay back and down. Once again, you can always bend into your left leg and bring that knee closer to you with your hands behind you. Just go with what feels best for your body. Slowly begin to come up. If you need to, extend that left leg. We'll bring that foot to the floor and the knee up. Once again, if you want to bend your extended leg, bring that alongside your hip. Sitting up nice and tall. Take a hold of that leg with the left hand, reach the right hand high. And then we'll go ahead and float that hand behind us, twisting once again, a little deeper twist here. If you want to, you can take the elbow to outside that near thigh. Again, just let the gaze follow your twist. So we have to think in terms of ourselves as a holistic being, like I said. Body, mind, heart, and spirit. Think of it like 4 tires on a car. If we neglect any one of those tires, or we get a flat tire because of lack of attention to it, eventually it will affect all the others and the ability to drive the car, which is us. So we have to notice which of these tires maybe we're not promoting self-care, which ones we're not paying attention to or nurturing in the way that we need to. Slowly begin to unravel that twist. Let's unravel the legs once again. Extend those legs out, shake them out. Good. We're going to go ahead and take the hands behind us. For the moment, we'll do just a little heart opening. Direct the toes upward, but the hands are a little bit behind so that we can really press the heart up. Now, if you want to, we can add a little bit of a lift through the hips into reverse plank. And if so, point those toes forward, engage the legs, the inner spiral of the thighs, draw the skull back. We're going to flow between these two places. So if the hips are lifting, on the exhale, float the hips down. Turn the toes up. Inhale, sweep all the way up. Exhale, gently hinge forward at the hips. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, float the hands behind you. Back bend, maybe lifting those hips high. Exhale, lowering down, toes point up, inhale, lift. And exhale, forward fold. Beautiful, inhale, lift. Exhale, float those hands, little back bend or point the toes forward and lift the hips. Beautiful. Exhaling, toes up, hips down, reaching up on the inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Beautiful. We're going to go ahead and come back to staff pose. Bend those knees, bringing the feet in. Take your hands behind you. And we'll gently press ourselves into a standing forward fold. So the feet will be about hip-width distance apart. Make sure your knees are deeply bent, resting your rib cage, your belly to your thighs. So if it's not contacting your thighs, then you need to bend the knees deeper. Make sure your feet are parallel and you're plugging into both feet evenly. Allow your skull to release toward the floor as the tail slides up. So lift your seat up to stretch the hamstrings rather than worrying about straightening the legs so much. On the inhale, lift halfway for length. Hands can come to the shins or you can come to your fingertips. Shoulders draw away from those ears as the tail slides back. Crown moves forward. Melt the heart here. On the exhale, fold it out. Inhale, sweeping all the way up to standing. Maybe adding just a little bit of a back bend, engaging the legs, pressing the hips forward. Maybe take those arms wide. Exhale, bring hands back to heart center. Check in with your foundation. Make sure all four corners of your feet are grounding down. Ears are stacking over shoulders, shoulders over hips. On the inhale, sweep those arms back up. Exhale, bend the knees, swan dive, forward fold. Bow your head to your heart. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale. Inhale, sweep all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, sweep, arms lift. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, lift halfway. Good, then exhale, just fold out. Let your belly, press your thighs, just hang like a rag doll. Or maybe take elbow for elbow. Once again, bowing your head to your heart. So one of the things that is so vitally important when we think about our mental health and well-being, our intellectual health and well-being, is monitoring and noticing our thoughts. Whatever we think about, we bring about, whatever we focus on expands. So what is the quality of our thought life? We have to take our thoughts captive, examine them, and know, is this worthy of entertaining? Our thoughts will come up randomly, but it's what we do with those thoughts. Thoughts become actions, actions become words. Or, I'm sorry, thoughts become actions, actions generate certain results. And so, what's the quality of our thought life? On the inhale, we're going to lift halfway, and then we're going to go ahead and step our feet all the way back and come into a down dog here. So hands will be nice and wide, fanning those fingers wide, feet about hip width distance apart. Know that you can always come into child's pose, just releasing the knees down and bring your seat back toward your heels if you want. This is your practice. Louise Hay said, you're not a helpless victim of your own thoughts, but rather a master of your own mind. Can we master our mind? The battle begins there. Also, peace begins there. So, what do you choose? And what kinds of activities are you doing to nurture your mental health and your intellectual health? We're going to slowly bring ourselves forward into a high push-up position. So press into those hands, push the floor away, shoulders are away from those ears. If you need to, bring the knees down, tops of the feet to the mat, that's fine. Just make sure your spine is in a long straight line here. So make sure you're not dipping into the hips and we're not hiking into the hips, but we are lifting from the underside of our belly, softening our tailbone downward, broadening our upper back. Beautiful. The elbows are going to come backward. So check in that the creases of your elbows face forward. So kind of rotate those arm bones in the socket without moving the hands. And then on the exhale, bring the elbows in toward your ribs, just lowering down. Now release the hips toward the floor and come all the way down. We're going to press into those hands, and then on the inhale, lift the chest and lift the right foot. Elbows still alongside the rib cage. Exhale, lower down. Good. On this next inhale, press into those hands. Elbows come straight back. Lift the left leg. Exhale, lower down. Good. 2 more each side. Inhaling, right foot lifts. Exhale, lower. Inhale, left foot. Keep those shoulders away from your ears. Exhale, lower down. Beautiful. One more time, each side. And lower. Good. Last one. And lower. Good. Press into those hands. Bring your upper body up, and we'll take a child's pose here. Knees can go wide if you need a blanket underneath the knees or behind the knees. Feel free to place something there and then melt the heart. You can always place something under the forehead as well, or stack your hands under the forehead. Just pressing into your third eye. Just awakening that area of wisdom and intuition, insight. So if you could breathe into that area. You're going to slowly come up. Orient the knees to the right underneath the hips, tuck the toes. Press your chest back toward your thighs. And then we're going to lift the hips up and back. Coming into a down dog. Walk it out if you need to. And we're going to practice a step up together. So Take your left foot forward a little bit and ground the foot. And then we're gonna pick up the right knee and tuck it in toward our belly. So really lift it deep inside here. And so that's the action we need. We need the pelvic floor lifting and the abdominals engaged, engaging what's called Uddiyana Bandha, drawing that navel in and up. We're gonna lift up onto the ball of our left foot. Keep lifting the hips like you're trying to plant them on the ceiling. Now take your gaze forward and step your foot to the front of your mat. Should give you a little bit more clearance. It might take a couple steps to get there, that's fine. Good, we're gonna practice this again. So press into your hands, let's step the foot back, hugging it back in, coming back into that down dog. Good, lift up onto the ball of your left foot, squeeze that thigh in toward your chest and belly, and then take your gaze forward, step that foot forward. Excellent job. Take a hold of a couple blocks here on the opposite sides of that front leg. And then we're just going to start rocking forward and back. So coming from pyramid into a runner's lunge. So really stretch yourself here. If you want to, you can even bring the toes of that right foot up as you come back. Keep breathing. Nice job. From the slow runner's lunge, take your left hand underneath your left shoulder. Good. Take your right hand to your right hip crease and draw that hip in and back without letting the knee splay out to the side. So the knee is still stacking over the ankle. Good. Begin to twist your body. So we're stacking the shoulders, opening the heart, orienting our torso to the right. And then reach that right hand high. Keep breathing. And let's bring some movement into that arm. So just circling. Imagining yourself as a whole being. The circle has no beginning, no end. Good. Reach that hand back. Now, if it's available, slowly begin to come up so that you're on the tippy fingers of your left hand, reaching your right hand behind you. If it's available, bring your left hand to your left thigh or reach it forward. Focus on your breath here. Nice job. Nice strong position. On the exhale, float that left hand back down to the block, reach the right hand high, float that hand down, and then bring the hands to the floor or to the blocks, doesn't matter. We're gonna step that foot back, finding a down dog or taking a break in child's. So what about your emotional health and well-being? What about your heart? Narira Wahid said, your heart is the softest place on earth. Take care of it. So what kinds of things are you doing to nurture your heart? What makes your heart happy? Slowly lower down into child's before we pick up that other side. Reconnect with your breath. Nice, slow, deep, rhythmic breaths here. Connect with that heart space. Maybe imagining you're melting your heart here. Letting your past just roll right off your back. Good. Slowly begin to come up. Walking those hands out in front of you, fanning those fingers wide. Knees line up underneath the hips with the toes tucked. Press your chest back, and then lift the hips up and back. Good. We're gonna plant that right foot and then bring that left knee in. So bend the knee and tuck it into your belly. Squeeze and lift. Good. Lift up onto the ball of your right foot, getting those hips as high as possible. Keep breathing. And then on your exhale, gently step your left foot forward. Good. If you want to try it again with me, press into the hands, pick up that foot, come back to that down dog with the knee bent. Last time we're going to lift and squeeze, really lift that belly in, almost like you're doing a little cat pose. Core is engaged, and then step that foot forward. Hands are going to come to blocks here in a low runner's lunge. So make sure your knee is stacking over that ankle. And then we're going to rock back and forth from a pyramid back to that lunge. Get a nice stretch. Maybe turn those toes up in pyramid. Just feel what feels best in your body. Mark Anderson said, find what makes your heart sing and create your own music. I love that. Come back to the center. We're going to take the right hand to the block. Take your left hand to your hip crease. Draw that left hip in and back at the same time. You're going to rotate your torso to the left, stacking the shoulders. Take your left hand high. And we're just going to draw some big circles. Lots of breath. I'm whole, complete, and resourceful. Good. Reach that left hand behind you like someone's taking a hold of your hand or wrist. Lift up onto your fingertips here. Maybe you take your right hand to your right thigh. Or maybe you reach it forward. Spread them out apart with your feet. Be strong here. Check in with your breath. On the exhale, float that hand down. Float the other hand down. Again, hands on blocks or to the floor. We'll step it back. Finding down dog and then coming into child's. Reconnect with your breath here. So we cannot forget about our spiritual self. And thankfully, this practice is a practice that includes that spiritual component. Yogi Bhajan said, the physical body is a temple, take care of it. The mind is energy, regulate it. The soul is the projection, represent it. All knowledge is false if the soul is not experienced in the body. How are you connecting spiritually? Maybe it's through yoga, maybe it's through meditation or prayer, maybe it's through nature or other ways, journaling, music. Whatever lights your soul on fire, whatever you find healing and nurturing to your spirit and your soul. We're going to slowly walk those hands back. And take the feet out of the way, off to the side, so that we can make our way onto our backs. Scooch forward if you need to. Let's draw those knees into the chest, giving them a nice squeeze here. You might want something underneath your head. Just rocking. Good, allow those knees to separate. We'll just do some circles with the legs, clearing out any remaining cobwebs in our hips. And going in the other direction. Good. Hug those knees in, begin to flex the feet. If it's available, hook your first two fingers around your great toes and we'll take the heels high into happy baby. If you can't reach your feet, just take a hold of the backs of your calves or the backs of your knees. And we're just gonna rock here. Just allow the knees to fall toward your armpits or toward the mat. Keep softening your seat down. So notice if your seat is lifting and see if you can get as much of your back connecting the earth as possible, including your shoulders. So notice if those shoulders are lifting, draw the shoulders back and down. Beautiful. 3 more big breaths here. Maybe in through the nose, out an open mouth. Letting your breath be like little love notes to your body, your mind, your heart, and your spirit. And we're going to release the legs and bring the feet to the floor. Cross your right knee over your left knee. So not that figure 4 shape, and literally just draping the right knee over the left. Take the arms to the sides and we'll allow those knees to go over to the left, but keep your right shoulder grounded to the mat. And you might take your gaze over your right hand. You might use your left hand to take you a little deeper, supporting your twist here, but never forcing anything. Don't forget to breathe. Slowly unravel your twist. Coming back onto your back, unravel the legs, placing the right foot to the floor. Left knee over the right, arms out to the sides, palms up, shoulders. Remain on the mat, and then we'll slowly bring the knees over to the right. Again, you can take a hold of the back of the leg, gaze over your left hand, keep softening that left shoulder toward the floor. It's a beautiful sigh of relief. You made it. Did this beautiful practice to support your self-care. Remember, when you travel on an airplane, they tell you to put your own oxygen mask on first so that you can survive, but also so that you can help those around you. So we cannot neglect our own needs in service to other people. We have to put our own oxygen mask on first. And as I said earlier, we cannot pour out from an empty cup. Slowly unravel your twist, unravel the legs, draw the knees to your chest, rock a few more times. Eleanor Brown says, rest and self-care are so important. When you take time to replenish your spirit, it allows you to serve others from the overflow. You cannot serve from an empty vessel. Come into a big, beautiful, full body stretch. Feeling all that beautiful length in your body, all that space in your mind and around your heart. And then on your exhale, just gently come into the final rest position of your choice. Maybe Hands go down alongside the hips. Maybe you want to be in cactus arms. Maybe you want to support the backs of your legs. Whatever you feel you need. Just come into this space of much needed rest and restoration. I'm going to read to you a beautiful poem from a book called You Are Not Too Much by Jeanette LeBlanc. And I love this. She says, I bow to your tender heart, your fierce ownership of self, to the battles fought in the name of health and wholeness and agency and truth, to the choices made that had to be made that nobody understands, to the judgment faced and the heavy grief cradled, to the ways you have continued even in the face of great loss and sacred things stolen and all that has threatened your hard-won peace. It is no small thing to survive this world, and it is no small thing to stand tall and claim this life and to thrive. You have been saving grace. You have been the saving grace of your own survival again and again and again. In the end, there is nothing more powerful than exactly that. Slowly begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Or maybe you decide to stay exactly where you are. If you're ready to end your practice now, bring knees to chest. Rock gently from side to side until you find yourself in a fetal position. Just resting there for a few moments. And then if you're ready, begin to make your way to a seated position. Bring your hands to heart center. Gently bow your head to your heart. You are worthy of self-care. The one who makes self-care a priority in me sees and honors the one who makes self-care a priority in you. Namaste, my friends.